CampusCare Edtalks is an exclusive platform where top educators from India or abroad come on board and express their viewpoints on burning topics related to education. Ntab CampusCare Edtalks is an initiative where educators get an opportunity to come forward and share their thoughts about education and other aspects of life. The show aims to uplift the level of education by sharing the best practices followed around the globe. It brings to light some personal experiences and thought-provoking ideas of the educators. Today's special guest on Entab CampusCare Edtalks is the one and only Mr. Amol Arora, Vice Chairman and MD of Shemrock and Shemford Group of Schools. He was the education icon of 2020. He defines himself as a visionary, tech-savvy humanitarian. At present, Mr. Amol is successfully running over 625 schools, having a faculty of around 4,000 teachers. He will be coming on board at CampusCare Edtalks to share his experience and express his views on education. So, without much ado, please allow me to introduce the one and only Mr. Amol Arora.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So good to have you here, sir. Thank you so much for taking out your time and coming to Ntab.
Thank you for inviting me as well.
Before we commence this much awaited session, let me quickly introduce you to Ntab. Ntab is a 21-year-old education company associated with premier schools across India that help them to evolve and revolutionize education. We are the #1 provider of high-quality, futuristic ERPs, CRMs and mobile apps for schools, teachers and students. To begin with, sir, we know that COVID had struck all of us and education was not an exception to it. The teachers worked hard in order to acclimatize to the situation and get students on board. But they faced a lot of obstructions in between. So while teaching in online mode, what challenges did teachers face and how did they overcome them?
Thank you. I think, yes, I think we had a very, it was something which nobody could be prepared for, nobody was ready for, nobody had an idea a day would come like this where schools would not be possible. So, but learning had to continue and I think everybody was forced to understand the new way of teaching learning. And so one thing, there were different challenges in that. One was of course the obvious one about how do I teach sitting at home? So internet connections at the teacher's place, the devices, cameras, audios. Second was the technology at the children's houses. So every family was different. So if they have one device, it goes to the older son, then the daughters are lower in priority. So everyone had access at different times. So there was a lot of challenge from the receivers end. And then the basic was the way to teach is not the same as a classroom. In a classroom, first of all, you're restricting the whole class by a physical space. The furniture is they're supposed to they look at you. They're not supposed to look outside the window. You can point out and say, where are you looking and all that. Now suddenly you have no control over their, you need to get their attention spans, and especially for younger children, you are actually competing not with another teacher, you're competing with YouTube and Netflix. So children are actually opening an online classroom and they're watching a Netflix movie on this other window. And when they ask to switch on their camera, they say, "Mera net nahi chal raha hai, ma'am, mera ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai." And teachers also, it was difficult. So that was the challenge. Then the skills of teachers just to handle the education part, how to teach, and also technology became so difficult. There were teachers who were, because before COVID, if you don't understand technology, you're okay. You could still manage. You could be inspiring. You could be a great teacher. You can motivate your students. You bring out the best in children, and you've been doing that for 25 years. Brilliant. No school would say, no, you have to do this. Now they were the same teachers who are suddenly gods in the industry, suddenly understanding how, if I move my mouse this many centimeter, how much does that cursor move from that level, and and different people got motivated by different things, but at the core was that if you do not evolve, don't learn, you are going to become a dinosaur. So I think that's what teachers realized. Children need to keep learning. There's a hunger for learning. Parents want education to continue. They want the children, the education should not get stopped. And as a teacher, where do you fit in now in this new environment? So it's almost like you were a great cricketer and suddenly you're asked to play football now. So now, yeah, you are fit, so good, so you can come and play football. But the rules were totally different. So I think that's where this whole sector, right from teachers to leaders to school managements, all had to go back and say, okay, well, how do I make this work? And so there's a lot of hit and trial happening, a lot of experimentation, a lot of sharing. Webinars, of course, this word, which was a very small word somewhere in our dictionary, suddenly became the big one for everybody. And people were listening, and because everybody wanted to learn and see what's everybody else doing. So thankfully, we had great free tools as well. So, for example, Zoom had a 40-minute free account. So 40-minute free period, 40-minute Zoom account, chalo, let's do this. Applications like Google Classroom, the Microsoft environment, which were free, became a big boon as a starting point. So I think that really helped. So we have to also be thankful that COVID happened in 19 and not in 2002, where we would have been stuck with SMSs and sending SMSs to teach children to learn. So I think it was in itself, it evolved, and let's hope going forward what we've learned from this should keep going. We should build on that. I think that's what the key is.
So I think now teachers are also more comfortable in using these new apps and working on these different platforms.
Yeah, so once they realize how children react positively, because children, for them, this is not something, something scary. They've grown up, they've been born into this world. So for them, they responded very well. So as a teacher, you notice this, that okay, children are learning this. This makes my job easier if I can do this. If I can just give them a link to watch a YouTube video of a volcano, rather than me having to explain through a Zoom session and drawing it a volcano, putting my phone like this, and why don't I send them a YouTube video, let them watch it, and then let's discuss about the volcano in the classroom. Yes. So now teachers are like, maybe there's a better way to do it than what I was doing for the past 20 years. So I think children were the easiest part. The difficult part was always the adults. So for example, we had always been experimenting with the flipped classroom, where the content is children watch at home and the discussion. So I was taught by economics like that. We had a professor, he became the economic advisor of Donald Trump eventually. So he recorded all his economic lectures in a CD and gave it to us. And economics for me was scary because I used to hear, oh, how many children drop out of economics. They join BA economics and they drop out. Even SRCC, Satyavati was 70% dropout. So I thought I was scared, economics padna padega. And this professor made his lecture, and he would come wearing shorts into the class and say, you all watched the video? We all watched the video. He would ask one question, and that answer would be the marks for your exam. That's the exam.
Okay.
Before that, he would ask anything you're not clear about. So if the discussion, we would discuss that, and then say, okay, fine, let's discuss now the Wall Street Journal. Kya akhbar mein kya padhne mein aaya economics like, what is happening in this country, what is happening in that country. So I thought that was a brilliant way. Why do I need to spend a teacher drawing the demand and supply curve? We can draw a video, I can watch it at my own time. So we were always experimenting, but the resistance came from the adult side. So we had been trying it, and the teachers didn't want to do it. The parents were like, kya zarurat hai, theek to chal raha hai, sab kuch, bachchon ko achhe marks. There was resistance from the adults. When COVID happened, thankfully that helped us. By last week of March, we had completely gone online. Because we had already practiced, we knew the tools that were there, we had tested them out.
Great.
So that became good, but at the same time, it was very challenging. I mean, for teachers, that discomfort was required because there was so much inertia amongst everybody for the status quo, which was not fair on the children.
So do you think schools should adopt a hybrid model, a combination of offline teaching model and the online teaching model?
Yeah, so when teachers started getting comfortable, we had a year of online, and suddenly this hybrid model was thrown upon them. Now it's almost like if teaching in a classroom for them was a difficulty on a scale of 10 was 3, online was 8 on a scale of 10. This became 24, not 3 plus 8. This was 20, multiply them. Because you have got like one group of children sitting at home, one children. How do you pay attention to them? It's just difficult ensuring they are sitting when you're focused on them. Here you have to look at the physically, they are not paying attention. If you shift your focus here. So hybrid was a totally different level. So hybrid, the way it's been done, I don't think that's the way forward. Hybrid would be in the sense that, yes, there may be some learning at home. I don't see a concurrent thing happening in the class. Let the classroom be classroom or be online. We may have a mix in hybrid in that sense, where not everything has to be done in the classroom. So eventually where we will work is that the learning should happen at home, where the child can do it anytime, anywhere. And the collaboration and discussions should happen where the human is required. That can't be done through technology. And that will wear the classroom. That's in fact, that will help schools also. You could have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday batch, and you have Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday batch. So now your cost of education could come down because of that, because technology is taking care of the role of teacher. So because the biggest cost in a school is infrastructure and salaries. So if that comes down, education becomes more affordable, more relevant for children. Rather than sitting through, as I was giving an example of a volcano, rather than just drawing the volcano in a classwork copy and then teacher says, okay, copy your classwork copy into your homework copy. Why were you doing this?
That kind of mechanical effort.
Yes, that's gone. I think that's that. Now people have tasted a better thing, they'll not go back to the old ways.
And more skill development can probably happen in the school.
Yeah. So we'll have to segregate the whole, our role, which is to prepare children for the future. What can be done at home, at their own time, at their own pace. The child wants to do it again and again 5 times before he understands, that's fine, let it be through on. And what needs to be done through a human being in a social collaborative environment, that's why children come to school. Not that you just blindly pick up your bag and come to school and teachers come to us, aise jana hi hota hai. We've realized that work from home is a fabulous way for some employees. They're working very well from home. The women can give time to their children, and they take a pay cut. As a management, I'm okay if you take a pay cut and you're delivering the same thing you were giving in office. And the person said, I can work an evening and all night. And I'm like, yeah, good, as long as my things are solved. So we are now evolving from there, and I think we're going to take some good practices which will continue now. I think so. Hybrid, not in the sense that what's happening right now, कि मुझे बच्चे को नहीं भेजना, so that some kids not coming and some, because I think the large part of that is just because some parents want the children to cheat at home, so because they are able to cheat at home, so that's why they don't want to come to school. I mean, we've seen that. So I think hybrid is that form. The current hybrid is not going to stay.
Okay. So how do you perceive the future of schooling?
I've said that, right? So this hybrid kind of approach should come into play. But also the biggest game changer that's going to happen is assessments. Right now, our whole schooling system is just for that class 12th marks. It's just focused on marks. I think, class 8 में teachers saying, अच्छा आप serious हो जाओ, अब तो पढ़ाई का time आ गया. तो अब तक क्या मजाक कर रहे थे इतने साल हम लोग. So I think we need to change the exam. Once the exam, that one class 12th exam is more from, it's like saying, if I have an office and I'm testing all my employees with one exam, so half of them will fail because they do all different jobs. So why are we the whole country with one exam? That's not relevant. Doesn't even make sense in this environment today. How can everybody be judged on one parameter? So that standardization, I think that needs to change. Once we change that, and I see artificial intelligence, data-based, evidence-based gathering where we can see where the child is going. Like, for example, if I have an employee and I want to know, is he progressing well? I'm seeing what are his strengths. I'll take feedback from people around, look at his daily reports, his evidence of how many projects he did. That's how we work in the real world. But in the school, it's all same curriculum, same NCERT, same class width. It just doesn't make sense. So once that exam changes, we change that focus, a lot of things will change. How will that change? One, it's already changing. People are already questioning, do I need to go to a university now? Earlier, it was almost like, okay, get good marks, go to a good college and get a good job, you're set for life. It doesn't work today. That importance of the degree is not there. I mean, somebody having a degree just means that you paid money, that's it. It doesn't make sense. So now, once that importance of higher education, which are irrelevant, will change. Why can't I learn the same skills from a YouTube, from a Udemy course, from a Coursera? Why do I need to spend lakhs of rupees, spend 3 years of my father's money on that? So once those standardized university-based things starts crumbling, we'll have better assessments. With AI coming in, so better assessments. So basically what we need is a personalized, individual personalized learning path for each child. That's what I feel. Right now that this was good for factory employees, not for today's age, where computers are threatening to take away a lot of our jobs.
Yes. So with the threat of the pandemic still prevailing, what would be the best way of conducting schooling for the coming sessions?
I think we need to get back to normal as soon as possible. Yes. And I think we need to understand that and hope that we don't have a seriously Delta variant of pandemic. And if we do, no one's saying this Omicron could be the last one. I think we need to shut quickly, open quickly, and let's not drag this on too long. And I think we are well equipped now. We have the skills to ensure that we switch to online mode quickly and and come back quickly. And I think that's the way forward. I think schools need to be given more liberty. So maybe the summer vacations can be made optional for schools because children need to come to school. So I think that's where, as I said, the teaching learning practices, of course, they should be absorbed into the current system, and we start asking difficult questions to ourselves. Why should we? But right now, immediately since it's open, I think we just need to be normal. Everybody, I mean, kids who are coming to school earlier, the 2 and 3 year olds kids who would come to school, they would cry when they come to school. So we had articles and videos for parents on separation anxiety. Bacha pehli baar bachche mother se alag ho raha hai. So how do you deal with that? Now it's like the minute the child enters school, he leaves the mom's hand and he runs off. And we ask the parents to come and pick the child after 1.5 hours for the transition period. Parents don't come after 2-3 hours also. They are like, thoda break mila hai, you know. And children also not complaining.
Yes.
So when they come, half of the kids have to be picked up by parents, and while they're yelling and screaming, I don't want to go home. They've had a lot of each time at home. They want to be with friends. They want to see interact with other human beings. Children need to interact with peers. So I think we need to get our schools back up and quickly. And if things, if something happens again, so there's a now new thought that why are we testing and getting panicky as well? We should look at the hospitalization rate as well. So Spanish flu, they said after 2 years it vanished. It didn't vanish. The common cold is the Spanish flu, right? That's what we call this. We don't call it Spanish flu any longer. So similarly, will the COVID-19 stay? Yeah, it's here to stay. It's not going to be a 0 day any time. But if hospitalizations and all are okay and under control, considering the whole population of the country, we don't need to keep 20 crore children out of school. That doesn't make sense.
Yes, true. What is the future of assessing students' learning progress and development, and what methods should teachers adopt for it?
Okay. Future, as I was saying, is going to be a lot of artificial intelligence, a lot of data is going to be there. So I think as schools, and I think where companies like Ntab should be working on is capturing all this data. So basically what you're doing is, what is the role of exam? It's to tell the university that this is where this student is.
Yes.
And that's why most of the engineering colleges, 70% of IT companies hire from them, even though only 15% are actually doing computer science. They're just hiring them because they know they are at this level. So let them. Why do finance companies hire IITians? Because they know they know how to learn. They know how to. They have the focus. So I need those skills as a financial company. So I will just take it. Not because they know automation or engineering or something like that. So I think that is where that matchmaking, for the lack of a better alternative, this is the best thing. That it's a shortcut for people, for universities. How do I choose between the thousands of applicants for a university? I use this as an indicator, and for everybody else, that becomes the whole sole motto of life for those 4-5 years, engineering entrance and medical engineering. Now, can we give higher education institutions a better picture of the student? Yes. So that's where I think we need to have kind of a portfolio of what the child has been doing. If he's making some YouTube videos, if he's been playing sport, capture those data points. And I think that's where an application like Ntab or should be working towards capturing and making that portfolio, so that when that person represents themselves to a college of higher education or for a job also, they have something to. Even now when I'm interviewing candidates, I tell parents, I don't look at your marks, I don't look at anybody's marks when they are, yes, if somebody's got 92% and somebody's 56, I would have a perception, but 56 and 75, it's okay, it's fine. I would rather see that, okay, this applicant was a head boy or a sports captain. Okay, now that's leadership. So those are things where I think are going to be more important for jobs and careers, and parents should start doing it. So assessments, when will AI come? When will this data analytics based, where we can make a profile of every student? Suppose Facebook. Now, when you go to Facebook, they start recommending videos based on your viewing. Which kind of pictures do you like? What kind of videos do you like? They've got what 2,000 data points about every individual. So we should have this kind of profile about every student as well. Now, as a college, I could say, okay, this is the kind of students that I want. As an employer, I want, this is the kind of people I want. That matchmaking will be much more easier. I think that will be, then it will lead to more productive employees, people who are in the right job. They're not feeling I'm stuck in the wrong job. For companies, it means the right kind of people. They're not trying to fix somebody who's totally different and trying to make him something else because acha ab to hire kar liya, I mean, to somehow make him work for this post. So that matchmaking result in more productive human beings, more happier lives, and ultimately for the organization, they'll contribute much more. So this assessments part is broken right now. I think we have to work on that.
So how do you think AI can actually bring this huge change in the education system at school level?
Yeah, so I talked about this individualized learning path that every child should have. So this we have to, as I was saying, we need to divide what can humans do better and what can machines do better. And what machines can do is pick up this, take large amount of data and compile it into a way which a human talks to a individual. A computer telling me this is your strengths and weaknesses with graphs, it's okay, I can see it. But a teacher setting said, okay, beta karna kya hai, batao. This is your area of weakness. Should we work on this or should you want to really build on your strengths?
Yes.
So that's where that data can be really good. So the teachers need to start behaving like coaches rather than instructional, like a microphone and just, so just become like a coach and say, okay, this is where, and let children learn from wherever they are better at. I mean, today, why do you need to come to a school to learn? I mean, some kids are great at learning through a YouTube video. Some like to play games and they learn from that. Let every child, so I think AI will help collate this large of a big data and bring it into a usable, actionable form, which can help that path that every child needs to take to have ultimately a better life. That's the purpose of what we do, all of us.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, sir. It was great and a great insight, I must say, into your understanding of education and how we can all together take up this system. Before that, if you can just give a token to us, your signatures.
Oh.
So, if you would like to share a few words about Entab.
Okay, I think Entab's been here very long. I mean, I think more than 2 decades. I've been,
21 years.
21 years. So I've been seeing the growth, and of course, they set out to solve a real problem, which is how do you manage the amount of data, how to manage a school through beyond pen and paper, beyond Tally, beyond Excel. And I think that passion is visible. That's why, I mean, Shemrock and Shemford, we've been here for 3 decades. I think that passion is a big role why Ntab still stays and commands a lot of respect in the industry. And I think I know where they're trying to go with the all-in-one app for ensuring the schools, teachers, parents, students, all are learning, all have the right tools, resources at their disposal to ensure a brighter future for the children. So I think they're going in the right direction, and it's because earlier I know Ntab was a kind of a, use the word ERP right, as kind of a school management administration role. But now they're coming into the learning part of it, and that assumes a lot of responsibility. And I think it'll be exciting times for the company as I'm sure you'll try to solve something which is not been done before.
Yes.
So best wishes to Ntab.
Thank you so much.